Hey guys, so we got an update from Valve on the competitive scene. There's been a lot of talk about these things, mostly negative. So we're gonna be looking into that a little bit. I'm gonna read it over for you guys. Just the moving forward part. There's a lot of other things that they wrote about the spring and the summer, but I feel like a lot of it was just fluff. If you guys are interested in that, you can check it out in the description below. There's gonna be a link to this blog itself. Moving forward, soon after we announced that we are not immediately proceeding with DPC as planned, we received a lot of negative feedback from fans. We think that a lot of the points that were raised were reasonable criticism towards us, especially because we did not communicate what our intentions were and what they could expect in the future. Really. But I'm so happy that Valve actually owned up to whatever happened. That's a step in the right direction. I'm really grateful for that. You know, a lot of the big guys, they don't do that stuff. And they realize they did something wrong. You can't just simply say, hey guys, DPC will be postponed for now. TI will be canceled for now. That's it. You can't just do that, right? You're just leaving like millions of people hanging at that point. And there's a lot of people who also have jobs in this industry and, you know, in Dota 2 that are also hanging. So it's a good thing that they owned up to it. They apologized. Let's see what they're going to do moving forward. For this upcoming competitive season, there are going to be at least 4 third-party events and leagues in EU CIS events, 3 in China, and a few others that are still in the preliminary planning stage and are not able to commit at this time. However, there are still going to be a lot of teams, casters, organizers, and fans around the world that are not going to be meaningfully served based on the current trajectory, and that is our fault for not pushing on those and supporting them enough. Interesting. So, first point, EU CIS and China are going to be getting a bunch of tournaments or leagues, events, whatever you want to call it, in the upcoming months. Wonderful for them. Now, the biggest thing that we're missing here is where's NA, where's SA, and where in the world is SEA? Southeast Asia is a huge region, right? And it seems like tournament organizers at the moment are not interested in those. Why? Well, it kind of makes sense. EU CIS have what? They have OG, Secret, Nigma, Liquid, Alliance. They have VP from CIS. They have Navi, right? Even if Navi aren't the most amazing team, their name is freaking enormous. So you got all the teams that you would possibly want in your tournament right in that one region. So everybody's looking at that. They're putting all their eggs into that basket. China, the biggest region in terms of Dota 2. And I'm sure there's a lot of TOs in China that are wanting to run their own events for, you know, the teams there, which also makes sense. That being said, SEA, NA, SA, they are, for lack of a better word, getting pretty shafted at this point, I want to say. Valve does sound like they're planning to, you know, push for it maybe, because they did apologize for not doing that already. And I hope they do, because if they don't, right now there's a lot of orgs in SEA that are already falling out. They're like, guys, we cannot financially support these guys anymore. It's just not possible. We're just burning our money at this point. So I hope things work out better there. And there are going to be some big tournaments also happening in NA, because NA don't even have many organizations at the moment. A lot of the organizations that are supporting teams are actually in South America because it's much cheaper. In NA, I think there's only like Team Crazy that are even sponsored. With that in mind, we've started reaching out to many more tournament organizers to offer help and financial support in order to be able to create increased coverage globally for the remainder of the year. We expect that these events will be gradually announced over the remaining season as soon as they are ready to communicate to fans and teams. Okay, that's amazing, all right, for multiple reasons. One, they're willing to have financial support for some of these TOs if they need it, right? And that being said, some of those TOs who are like kind of reluctant on getting into SCA, NA, SA might actually do it because of that. Secondly, the fact that Valve is actually supporting you is an asset to you, right? You can leverage that. You can actually use that and go to your, you know, potential sponsors of your tournaments and such and be like, hey guys, look, even Valve is supporting us, right? This tournament is going to be a success. You know, you guys want to get in now, blah, 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 right? They can actually leverage that in whatever way that they do. I'm pretty sure Valve is going to leave that to the TOs to be able to do that, and they're just going to financially support them. But for TOs, that's a big thing. That is going to be a big thing. At least I imagine it to be so, because that's how I expect people to be, communicating and making deals. So that's going to be huge in that sense. Again, I really hope that SCA, NA region, like they are going to be getting tournaments because of this, and there's going to be support for them. Another piece of feedback we got from players as well as fans was wanting more clarity in what we were thinking were the likely dates for DPC and TI to resume. Our outlook right now is that we are anticipating the start of DPC to be in the first month or two of 2021. Our hope is that by the time the first DPC league concludes, travel limitations will be more predictable and spontaneous restrictions will be less likely, thus allowing for majors with cross-region competition to happen. Okay. So that means in January or February will be the first DPC league itself. And then their plan is as soon as that DPC league ends, you can have a LAN. You can have the major. That was what they were planning beforehand, right? That being said, I wouldn't hold my breath on it because pandemic and laws in different countries and when you can leave, it's just very complicated with what's going on. And I think that's going to pose big problems. They're very optimistic, I want to say, about this. I want to be optimistic as well because these are a lot of my friends and people that I care about that are going to be affected by these things too. But if that's the case, let's just say in a perfect world this does happen. That's what's going to be. January, February, they start, it finishes a month later, whatever, and then you're going to have a LAN. You're going to have the major right after that. Moving on. We are also operating under the assumption that the most likely outcome is for the international to happen in Stockholm in August 2021. While we have other countries as backup, to recognize that fans would be upset if we moved it to another location if the time savings weren't meaningful enough. So I'm happy that it's happening in Stockholm. I love Sweden. August 2021, that means from the time that TI9 happened till TI10 is a 2-year gap, which sucks. I think there's a lot that's going to happen in this next year. So this is really annoying for a lot of us, especially because TI is what brings all the Dota 2, players and communities together every year, gives us hope and drive for this game. So things are gonna be a little bit sad, guys, I know, but that's okay. 2021, I'm looking forward to it. That being said, there's a lot of things here that I'm not sure what's gonna happen with. For example, what of this 30 million that was accumulated, right, for TI10? And what of Battle Pass next year? People love Battle Pass every year. Another thing is, if SCA and NA don't get any tournaments, then they're gonna fall really far behind to EU and China in terms of competition. So when the first DPC do return in January or TI next year, a lot of these teams coming out from these regions are gonna be really far behind, right? Because they're not going to have that opportunity to train against others, and there's going to be a lot of orgs that are going to be falling out. That means there's going to be a lot of players who are not going to have jobs, and they're not going to be able to, compete or focus on their Dota. And there's a lot of factors involved there that we're not sure of. For every answer we got like 10 more questions essentially. Overall, at least Valve spoke up, and that's what matters. I'm really happy about that. Thank you for that. I'm really happy they also owned up to their mistakes, and they're looking to make things right. Let's look forward to what's going to happen in the next year then. So moving forward to Dota TV and streaming. Oh, this is going to be a big one. This is something that, there's been a fight between Gork and Admiral Bulldog versus Kyle, and Kyle has been the voice for all these TOs, right? Because he's been working with WePlay, so there's been a lot of talk there. We've also heard your feedback and concerns around Dota TV streaming rights. This has been topic we've discussed openly in the past, and as we gathered more data, our thoughts have evolved slightly. We ultimately still believe that community streamers providing their own commentary of a tournament is a net positive value to fans and the competitive scene. I agree. I think that these guys do provide a lot of insight that you can't find on the mainstream, but obviously it kind of sucks if TOs start feeling like, hey, these guys are taken away from our viewership and such things too. So there's positive things, but also negative things on the other party. And for these community streamers, even myself, I love to just open up a game while I'm streaming, like Seeker versus EG or something, and I just want to watch, right, with my viewers, and I want to discuss about what we like to focus on. Yeah, it might not be play-by-play casting or something, but I oftentimes talk about strategy. I talk about why these players are doing what they're doing and trying to teach those things to my viewers and such. And it would be nice for me to be able to do that without feeling bad that these TOs think I'm taking away from them. Obviously, my stream is very small in comparison to, you know, Admiral Bulldog or Gork, and those are the guys that they're really looking at because they're pulling in thousands and thousands of viewers. We also believe that in the long term, the tournament themselves benefit from additional exposure to fans of those community streamers. However, it is true that this can cause short-term loss of revenue as well as a reduced ability to monetize more effectively for tournament organizers. Starting September 15, the Dota license will be updated to reflect the following. Organizers that run Dota 2 tournaments will have to provide community streamers with a reasonable and simple to execute set of non-monetary requirements, such as displaying the organizer's sponsors on their streams or having a slight delay on the games. Wow, that's insane. Okay, now they say reasonable and simple to execute. But the two things that they mentioned are not reasonable or simple for a lot of people, but for others it is, right? So the main guys like Gork and Admiral Bulldog, they're not going to be able to put these sponsors on their streams because that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt a lot because they're going to have their own sponsors, and that might have conflict of interest, right? Between those other sponsors that you need to put on your stream in order to be able to watch those. So maybe indirectly they're saying, guys, don't stream this anymore. Because now if you have any sponsorships and there's any conflict, even with a single one, all these TOs have, you know, bunch of sponsors. So you have to make sure that there's no conflict there, and you're going to put that on your stream to be able to watch. And then on top of that, you're going to have a delay on your stream. And the reason why streamers stream these games is because they want to interact live with their chat. So now if they're having a delay as well on their stream versus what the chat is, the rate the chat's going at, that's going to hurt them. They're not going to want to do that either. So the two options that they gave or suggestions actually make community streamers reluctant towards streaming this altogether, which in hindsight might have actually been their plan to begin with, right? For me, would I do it? Maybe. Am I going to be sad that I can't just click on a game that's live right now just to watch for like 5 minutes? Probably. I'm going to be very, very sad. But I assume if I sent an email out to them, maybe they'll clarify that. Can I just watch a game for like 5 minutes and then close it afterwards? Or does this only apply for people who are watching from the beginning to the end of a game? Right? There's a lot of uncertainty there, and I feel like this should be elaborated on, because the way that I'm reading and digesting this is just not going to work. That's just how I feel. Community streamers will be able to use the DOta TV feed in their broadcast as long as they agree to those requirements. We believe this will provide more certainty and confidence to community streamers to be able to cast without a lot of turmoil, while at the same time protecting some key interests that tournament organizers have. To avoid possible last-minute issues, we would advise casters that want to stream a tournament to coordinate with the organizer in advance to ensure they are able to fulfill the requirements presented. Tournament organizers and relevant parties that have questions, feel free to reach out to us at DotaProCircuit@valvesoftware.com. So this is really good. I like it. I think it's really something that was needed. Some direction is better than no direction. That being said, there still needs way more clarity on these things. And I assume that tournament organizers, they should just post this online somewhere where anybody who wants to restream whatever through DOta TV has it available, and they can just do it, right? Without getting in trouble or having to contact them directly to ask for these things. Like, this should be open and available to everybody so they can do it. Because right now, obviously, you can just open DOta TV, blah, 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 done, right? You can just watch the game. No consequence. So if there's going to be a consequence, you better put that out to the public so everybody knows, so there'll be no other problems after that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching till the end of the video. This is not something that we normally do. A lot of our content is regarding getting better at Dota and things like that. But I feel like the news in Dota 2 or some of these big controversial things is something that I would like to do down the road on my channel. I have a lot of thoughts in my mind, and expressing it is something that I really like. Thank you so much for all the support, guys. If you want to be able to ask more questions about this stuff, or you just want to spark up a conversation, please do come by my Twitch channel. I do stream like 6 days a week there, so I'm gonna be able to answer your questions if I ever am live. Don't be shy, you know, drop by, and please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're gonna be creating a lot more content down the road. Thank you.